Beat that entertainment.
Welcome back to another episode of BTE TV, and today we have the honor of having on the Mayor of Portsmouth, Sean Dunne. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I never thought this would really happen.
Well, like I was telling you, whenever I thought about bringing you on, we was actually in the middle of shooting a podcast. We was in the middle of doing a podcast, and they was talking, like I told you, like I'm more comedy based myself. He's more serious. They was having like a big serious talk, and I wasn't understanding nothing they were saying, so I was just there brainstorming while they was talking, and I was like, man, it'd be cool to get the mayor on. And that's how it came about. And then I messaged you, and you messaged back. Yeah, so thank you coming on. Thank you for coming on. So we'll jump straight into it. Are you from here in Portsmouth?
No, I'm not. Actually, it's just now over 10 years I've been here. And it was back in early July of 2013. I flew over from Ireland to do my interview at Shawnee State. And prior to that, I'd never been in the state of Ohio. And so I'm originally from the East Coast. I was born in New York City. I was born in the Bronx. And I grew up in New Jersey, Central Jersey. Mm-hmm. And then I lived in Virginia for about 4 years. And after that, I when I graduated from college, I moved to Ireland and started my postgraduate study there. My parents immigrated from Ireland, so I have a lot of family in Ireland and dual citizenship and all that. So that made it easier. So I was there for, approximately 13 years, doing a range of things. I did postgraduate study. I did teaching. We had a family farm, which was pretty fun to work with. And, then I just decided I'm going to go back to the United States, and here I am in your basement.
So how'd you get set on coming back here and then to Ohio?
Oh, how did I make the decision to return?
And to Ohio to be like you said, you're from the Bronx. You're from New York,
New Jersey. Yeah, I was born in the Bronx, but I grew up in Monmouth County, New Jersey. Yeah.
So being from them big cities, like what landed you here in Portsmouth, Ohio?
Well, it was a couple of things. It was kind of like I've described my decision to move back to the U.S. like Ernest Hemingway describes going bankrupt. I don't know if you know his phrase for that. He says, first gradually, then suddenly. So I knew I was going to go back to the U.S., but I loved living in Ireland. At the time, I lived in Dublin. I loved it, but I just thought, I'm gonna go back. And Shawnee State was appealing to me. I guess one of the things I looked at it was the college itself, and what I liked about Shawnee State. There was a few things. One, I thought. It was teaching the types of students that I wanted to teach. I taught in a lot of different places in Ireland, from Trinity to an art college to more of a kind of a place for like working class Dublin students, first like of their families to go to college and all this. So I liked the kind of students that were going to be at Shawnee State. I liked the fact that the department was interdisciplinary. I liked the fact that I could teach at the college and not feel guilty at the front of the room for how much they're charging students. Yeah. So relatively speaking, I think it's it's reasonable to what students pay in tuition, and so I kind of started with that. Like that's where I was looking at, and then I just also thought that the comparison, like the location of the university in a city like this, it did give you the opportunity to kind of have an impact on the area. And so not just me, but like the program itself. So that was quite appealing to me. Yeah. So it's not like I hunted down, Portsmouth itself to move to. It was just kind of it hit several factors. And so, like I said, I flew over in July and I started in August 2013.
So you were saying that you flew over for your interview, which was to work at Shawnee. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I had to fly, funny enough, I flew Dublin to Newark, New Jersey, and then Newark to Columbus. And I think at the time, the flight from Newark to Columbus was more expensive than Ireland to New Jersey. But anyway, I made it. So, yeah, it was great.
It seems shocking to me that you would even find, like, being in Ireland and you're just on the internet looking for, it seems odd to me that Shawnee would even come up.
Yeah. So if you put yourself into like these searches for like positions in academics in the U.S., most schools would enter into those like kind of job pools. Essentially, I was one of the ones I looked at. I was like, I'll just apply there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is quite random.
Did you do some research before you came here? Like a research on the area?
I did. And so like that being said, there was certain terms I had never heard of until I arrived here. So for example, and I'll never forget, we were working on getting this concrete ping pong table for Shawnee State campus. And so students and I like fundraised for it. We got it. The first place we looked at though, the first company, they were located in let's say Queens in New York City. And me and the salesperson were in this talk about pill mills. I was like, I never heard of it before and he didn't know what it was either. And, I talked to him the next week. He's like, man, I went down this wormhole. I never heard of this stuff. This is insane. I'm like, yeah. So I knew, I knew the general background of the place. Yeah, definitely. But you really don't know until you come here what the pluses and minuses of any place is like. And so, but it's been a great 10 years. So I'm glad I made that decision.
Which at that point, you're just coming here to get a job at Shawnee and teach. Yes.
So, funnily enough, when I started, that was 2013. And the next election, so I arrived in 2013, and the next election, you had to like file in January of 2017. And I had no plan on doing it because in the Portsmouth City Charter, you had to live here for 5 years before you could run for office. And so like I wasn't even eligible. But the thing was, the guy that was in the seat before me put forward this motion to change the charter from 5 years to 3 years. And he did that, which made me eligible, which allowed me to run, which knocked him out of the office. But so I wasn't like, when I got here, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm going to run and whatever. It was just kind of like, it was presented to me and so forth. So, a lot of it came from early on. The first time I was in front of a council was saying we need a skate park. And it was frustrating, and I knew it was going nowhere. And so I just realized the only way to get it done is to run for office.
So what year did you become mayor?
So, okay, to go back to January 2017, I ran for that city council position for the first ward. The election was that November 2017. So I started January 2018 on council, this first ward. So then 2020, I became vice president of council. And it's, at the time, it was just kind of like, all right, fine, I'm willing to do that. Then I was reelected. I ran unopposed in 2021. And then January 2022, I started as mayor, which is president of council. And so for that, you get, this is the end of my 2-year term as mayor. Now I'm elected to 4 years on council, but in January, all the council decides again who's going to be president and vice president. And so just if people, aren't as savvy on local politics, often a lot of these municipal governments, there's two kinds. There's what's called a strong mayor, and then there's the city manager style. Portsmouth has actually been both at different times.
I didn't know. I actually thought we had a city manager.
We do, yeah.
So what's the difference in your job and their job?
They do all the work. I'm just the pretty face.
That's what I was like. So he's just like the president of Portsmouth.
That's how politics are. Yeah, but no. So he does all the administrative, day-to-day running of it. And he will do something like if there's something to supervise a department or a city employee, that's the city manager. And in fact, we're not allowed to get involved at all. What then the city council does? Well, first of all, the manager is hired by council. Be fired by council and all this other stuff. And then, part of what he would do is put together a budget that goes before the council that then gets voted on. So then maybe your follow-up would be, well, what's the difference between mayor and another member of council? And really, there's a few things. It's like, I run the meeting, which really isn't that much of a powerful position.
So it's a little bit of power.
A little, yeah. I guess. So I'm on the board for our city health department. And I run those meetings, which is once a month. You're asked to make a few extra appointments than the average council member, but that's really it. It's not a, I'm just one of 6 votes. So you do get to do things like, as I was saying before we started, I try to make myself available for media. I try to, represent Portsmouth when I can in other cities, and people give a lot of weight to mayor without knowing, like, well, actually, you really are the same as another member of council. But if it gives Portsmouth good press, I'll do it, kind of thing, So, but yeah, that's really it. I mean, like right now, part of what they tried to do is make that strong mayor form of government. The people would elect someone to essentially run the city. That's day to day as well. And there's pluses and minuses to both of those approaches. I've gone back and forth in my mind on which one I think is best. But each one has a strengths and weaknesses to it. So,
Did you have a question? I just asked like 3 questions.
Yeah.
I jumped way ahead just because of what you said. It brought my next question up, but I didn't. We jumped ahead of some questions.
Yeah, I was wanting to know. I was going to ask you about Ireland, but then we got deep into all this.
We can back up.
No, we can keep it going, keep rolling.
We'll just roll with it,
and then later on we'll get back to all that. So now that you are mayor, is there any changes that like you've put in motion that you saw come out already?
Yeah. So, and it's like one thing you can do, one extra thing you can do as mayor is you can call a special meeting of council.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically a member of council from a previous session, Edwin Martell, had been working with people on regulations relating to addiction treatment facilities. And so from his work, then we then had a new member of council elected, and a lot of what he ran on was like something we need to develop some type of regulation, broadly speaking, right? Yeah. And so I think it was at the end of March of last year, I called for a special session of council to organize what I was defining as a town hall event to let people just talk about it. We do want to put in some regulations and then have people talk about it. And it was really, I thought, successful, even if it was, people got emotional and sometimes combative and whatever, but that's democracy. We shouldn't have to like overemphasize, sanitizing things or whatever. We should let people speak. And you had people on very different sides of the argument there, and they should be heard. And so from that, we established for our city and for the state of Ohio, we were the first to say that what were previously voluntary standards now had to be mandatory. Mm-hmm. So if you operate in the city of Portsmouth, you need to essentially meet the certain standards. We're moving towards that. And then actually at the end of last year in the state budget, they passed things that saying you have to be certified as well. Yeah. Previously, it was voluntary. And so now there's different ways of looking at it. Like, first of all, if a lot of people are in recovery and they're a very vulnerable population, like if someone's running a facility and is not treating them well, they might feel like they have nowhere to complain to. They might be there court ordered. There's that aspect of it. There's others that you're wondering, like, well, are they doing? Are they following best practices? And I looked at it as if it was a nursing home, we'd want to make sure like your grandparents are being looked after. And these people in recovery the same way. We want to make sure they're being looked after in healthcare and so forth. And so that's where it all. That took easily months to get done. There was all these different things to consider and so forth. And that was, but it was really good to do. I thought like as a city and as a community, it was a great thing to do. And it just, people contributed in different ways. And I thought it was probably the most transparent and just open process of legislation since I've arrived on council. And so that I'm very happy about. There's certain things you can and can't do as far as legislation within the Ohio Revised Code, but I thought we put together something that was very important.
Now, is there anything else that you're working on, like something big that you're working on?
I think for me, the next year would be housing. I think there's a variety of different things that we can do I think we need more options on the table for people to buy a home or buy a place or to rent. It's just, it seems almost counterintuitive that we have a city that used to be populated by about 43,000 people. Now it's about 18,300. But there's still, if you talk to people, they find it's hard to buy places that's affordable for them, and it's hard to rent is a lot and so forth. And at the same time we have blighted properties, and it's like, well, we just got to coordinate this in a better way. And so near the end of or the end of this session, that's what I've been really advocating for. And so it's something I learned more about at this conference of the Ohio Municipal League. And so hopefully one of the things we're going to do early on is to move blighted properties into housing opportunities.
Yeah.
So the idea would be like tear down these abandoned homes and rebuild or build more housing.
Well, I would like for us to build more housing. Earlier in the year, I talked about establishing a TIF zone, which is similar to what it's essentially what Cincinnati did. It was the former mayor of Cincinnati that told me about their strategy for over the Rhine. And basically, it allows for a municipality to subsidize the construction of new housing, like apartment buildings. Say this space here was an empty lot in over the Rhine. One of the things Cincinnati did through a TIF zone was collect money and say to you, the developer, like, okay, it's going to cost $5 million to develop this. We'll throw you $1.5 million to help with the costs. This way, we're incentivizing you to come in and do that. And my argument was this is what Portsmouth should be doing. Fortunately, it didn't pass, but I'll try again, I think, this year. But as to your question about this blighted properties, for that, I looked at what Columbus is doing. And Columbus was using this receiver. It's basically a real estate agency that what they were doing was filing civil lawsuits against, say you had a property that wasn't up to code, maybe back on taxes or whatever. If it could be defined as a public nuisance, that really puts pressure on you to either like bring it up to code and pay off taxes, or just send it over to the receiver, who then cleans it up a bit and gets it available for the market so that you could come along, renovate it, and whether you want to live in it or sell it or rent it or whatever, but you've now moved that blighted property into something that's usable.
Yeah, you mentioned Edwin Martell. I love Edwin. Voted for him. I've talked to Edwin quite a bit about stuff like this. Disagree with him on some things, like you just mentioned. I do understand the idea of if you have a property, keep the grass cut, like don't have it overgrown. We disagreed on stuff like people parking on the street to change their oil, like parking on the sidewalk, just little like Portsmouth stuff, like stuff that's been happening since I can remember, and part of me is like, yeah, I mean, that's progress and we should be reaching that. And then the other part of me is like, man, I like my little old town where you can kind of get away with stuff that you could never get away with in Columbus or Cincinnati or a place like that. Yeah. But I did want to just, cause I heard you mention Edwin, I just want to say, shout out Edwin, good friend.
Well, I think that doing stuff like that is just doing nothing but like bettering.
Yeah, I agree. It's progress.
Yeah,
it's just me. You know what I mean? Like, I like it.
No. Well, to your point, one thing, I was looking at stuff from 2022 actually this afternoon. I put forward changes to the city charter that ice cream trucks used to be outlawed in Portsmouth.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So one thing we did change was we're letting ice cream trucks go back. Now, what I think happened was there was a tragedy of some sort where a kid was hit by an ice cream truck. They probably heard or a car. They heard the noise. This is like decades ago. And I think the response was, okay, we don't want ice cream trucks.
Yeah, that's the wrong response in my opinion.
And so we're in an age of food trucks and so forth. Mm-hmm. So the reason I'm bringing that up is that a city council can also act to chip away at, if you feel there's too much we chipped away at that regulation, and that I don't think it was a useful one.
Right.
So we did that.
Yeah. So let's back up a little bit. You grew up in Jersey. Where'd you go to school?
In college?
Yeah.
James Madison University, who's recently become quite good at football and basketball, and were not really as stellar when I was there, so I wasn't really into it, but I did watch them play against Air Force last Saturday. They didn't win. But I went to James Madison University, which is in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Okay.
And so I went there. I wasn't entirely certain what I was going to do. I was thinking probably I liked certain aspects of like the legal profession, lawyers do. But then I really got into sociology when I was there, and decided that's what I wanted to do. So like from there, I was like, all right, I'll go to grad school. Now I did spend a semester studying abroad while I was there. I went to Ireland and loved it. And I had been there as a kid multiple times. We actually lived there for summer when I was 3. I just decided, combining my enjoyment of Ireland and sociology, I'd go there to study.
Yeah. What was it like growing up? Like, are you an only child? Do you have siblings? What your
Middle
parents
child.
do? Only child.
Middle child.
Oh, middle child.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have an older and younger brother.
Okay. What was like youth like? You know what I mean? Your parents, what they do?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I had a great childhood. I thought I liked the area where I was from. It was like 45 miles south of New York City, of Manhattan. It's near the Jersey Shore. It's actually Bruce Springsteen territory, to probably put it in pop culture, south of Tony Soprano territory, and it's more Springsteen. But I liked it. It was, for me, I was a first generation college student. My parents both emigrated. They met in New York City, and then I was born in the Bronx, and we moved down to Jersey. And we for the most part, then I was in the same spot. I don't know. There was nothing really too that's jumping out that I should mention, but like it was, thankfully, I'm very thankful. It was like a stable childhood. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I still friends that I grew up with that I go back and visit, so forth.
Yeah. Well, my whole thought behind that was like growing up somewhere like that, probably a lot different than here.
Yeah.
That was why I was asking, just to see like what life was like there.
What type of stuff did you do growing up?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I love sport. So I played like basketball, baseball, soccer. And that was mainly, we like a lot of like, we really didn't, like a lot of like Irish immigrant families, you'd go back to Ireland for your vacation if you ever did a vacation. Like we didn't really, never went to like, but I liked it. I loved going back to Ireland. So yeah, we did that. And then like, I don't know, what else did I do? It was mainly then, I did well at school, and, I probably, I like that I went to JMU. I probably think, I'm glad I went. I mean, there was other places I probably could have gone, but I'm really glad I did go there. So I grew up as a Giants fan. I grew up as a Mets fan. I grew up, trying to think of other things I rooted for. In New Jersey at the time, and probably still today, we don't really have much of a college football situation there. And so I didn't realize how big Ohio State football was until I came here. I honestly did not understand. And actually, I was in Dublin when Notre Dame and Navy first played one another. And I remember looking around like, these people are just insane for this stuff. They're crazy for it. I didn't realize college football was so big until I watched Notre Dame. And I got a ticket, by the way. That was one of the toughest tickets I got in Dublin. I went to a lot of sporting events there, and that was probably easily one of the toughest. And then it ended up getting really great seats, but it was a lot of fun. But so I was involved in sport and things like that. We had some family then in New York City as well, so we'd go up there and visit family there from both my mother and father's family.
So what was it like being in Ireland? I've always wanted to go to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I've always wanted to do. I still want to do it.
Yeah, I loved it. Like when I studied abroad, I lived in a place called Cork,
Mm-hmm.
Cork, southeast Ireland. It's a great spot. And then I spent most of my time though in Dublin, and it was great. I studied at UCD for my master's, and then I did my PhD at Trinity. And then we had a family farm in a place called Kerry, and it's probably, I think Kerry's probably like the most scenic spot. It's like probably what you think of when you see the postcards and stuff like that. It's incredible. It's right on the Atlantic Ocean and all that. So, and they're all a bit crazy there in a good way. So that's great. But I loved Ireland. I have a lot of great friends that are still there, and it was just a lot of fun. I went back last December. That was just a great experience, and I hadn't been back since 2015. So a lot's changed, but there's a lot of things that also stayed the same. So it was cool to be back.
Now, so if in Ireland, like whenever you was there, like I know the pubs are so much different from down here. Like, would you go out and just like party down there? Love there.
One difference I thought was to answer your question, yes, of course. I tried to socialize as much as possible when I was a postgrad, as much as my postgrad money would go. But there's more of the pub is more of a community hub, I think, where like you would go in on a Wednesday and have like 2 pints and move on. It wasn't like you're hanging from a chandelier on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But it was good for the community, like to kind of meet and you kind of, And I kind of felt that when I got here. It's funny. I first went to Port City just to kind of learn about the place, and so there was that, and there was just, then there's just different parts of the city that are just always on, and it was really fun, so there is that, and it was like the Guinness is really good too. There's less of one thing American bars, there's more of a shot culture here.
Yeah.
And I'm not that type of, when I go to the bar, I don't do shots for the most part, but we do it here more. Like people will drink like a domestic, like a Bud Light, and then have a shot of something with it. I know
What's your favorite drink? Like if you go to a bar, what do you order?
Right now, I've been doing different types of IPAs, and so I've been drinking like Blood Orange IPA, which is pretty good, and then some of the local brewers. I'm doing recently. Merc Juice has been on Second Street, so I've been enjoying that.
The what's Patties and Pints? They got a lot of the they got like all these different types of the beers they brew around here and stuff. Mm-hmm. I went down there one time and I tried, because they let you do like the sample shots of them, and I tried all kinds. There was a lot of good ones down there. Like we make a lot of good beer down here. Mm-hmm. So what's your favorite type of whiskey? Like if you ain't drinking beer.
So this seems like a great segue for me to plug my Bourbon Club. Can I do that right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so here's my idea for the Bourbon Club.
$10 though.
Yeah. Now let me open this up. I'll show you my T-shirt. But basically, one of the things I thought was crazy, we were talking about moving here, what it's like from another place. One of the things that blew my mind a bit was like, it's a small enough city, but we're still in our own galaxies. Like, we don't talk to people in these other networks. And it's like, to me, it blows my mind that like and it's not that people are being malicious towards one another. It's just we don't have these opportunities to meet. So I came up with this idea of having a bourbon tasting at my house. And like what I do is I gather 18 people together. And what I purposely try to do is bring together people that I've never met or don't normally hang out. And so there's different age groups, there's different, socioeconomic positions, different gender, different sexuality, race, ethnicity, whatever. The whole idea behind it is you're coming in just to meet other people and just to kind of enjoy meeting other people, and it's more just to socialize and just to, there's no end goal except to enjoy each other's company.
I like that.
Yeah. And so like the secret of the Bourbon Club is really not about bourbon, and I was actually just talking to a friend in Northern Ireland yesterday, and he was saying there's a whole thing called a man shed thing. Have you guys heard about this? Man? Yeah. So like they bring say it was this, they would bring us together to do woodworking and stuff. Yeah. But the real thing is to get us to socialize, and they had a lot in Ireland. It started in the US as well. So we get 4 different bourbons. We try the different bourbons, and we each just chip in $20 each. And that's a really affordable night out. And I'm still before that, I really didn't drink much bourbon. My favorite is Blue Run, and that's a bourbon. Favorite whiskey is probably Jameson, I would go. But
what do you drink your Jameson with anything?
No,
I drink mine with milk.
No, you don't.
He seriously does.
I love Jameson and milk.
He loves Jameson and
Is
milk.
that a thing? I never even heard of this.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a thing. He's the only person I ever heard of doing it.
What do you put in the glass first?
Okay, so if you go down to the Irish pub, you ever went to the Irish pub down here? So
Once or twice.
Yeah, if you go to the Irish pub, then they'll give you, if you ask for a Jameson and milk, they'll give you the Jameson and milk. But what I prefer to do is take the shot, then take a little chaser with milk. That's what I prefer to
Afterwards.
do. Yeah,
it's almost like a pickleback shot. But
yeah,
it's
pickleback, but it's with milk. But I do get a mix. Okay, so I went to, I used to go to New York all the time. I went there to visit. I was actually going there to watch the UFC fights. And so the laws here, the laws here are. So I really never went out. So the laws here are you're allowed having guns. So now I got my CCW. Okay, so you was allowed open carrying here. So I was going to New York to watch a UFC fight. This was, 2018, 19?
18, I think.
And
you brought your gun.
Took my gun and going through Hackensack, New Jersey, got pulled over, got all kinds of felonies. It all got taken care of. But at the time, though, I had this court case I was fighting every month for a year. So long story short, I'm going back and forth to court. I'm always in New York because I was like, bro, New Jersey sucks. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't want to be in New Jersey. So I was staying in New York. And while I was up in New York, instead of just making it like a stress thing, I was like, while I'm up here, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy stuff. You know what I mean? I'm going to go out, blah, blah, blah. I went to this pub up there in in New York, whenever I was in there, well, I don't even know what I was getting at. But anyways, though, yeah, I went up there and stuff, and they had the Jameson and milk. They mixed it as well, just like how so I mean, I guess that it might be a thing because I was like, I need some Jameson and milk, and they brought it out mixed up for me. And
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
I've never heard
It's
of
actually
that
really
before.
good. It's really good. So
well, one of the things that I hadn't seen before since here either, but it's apparently more of a thing in Utah, is like I think they call it brown beer, where you take like I have a couple of friends now that do this. They mix tomato juice with like Bud Light. And,
that's wild.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I think they sell that now.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
You club. It's called something.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can buy it or
Yeah, they come in cans.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. At first, I didn't like it too much, but then I can see the appeal of it.
Yeah. It just like the milk just takes away like the burn and stuff. You know what I mean? Because don't get me wrong, I don't know how you drink, but whenever I drink to like drink. You know what I mean? I drink a lot. So like whenever you start puking and stuff, the milk just coats your throat real well, and then you're just fine. You know what I mean?
Milk's easy to puke.
Oh no, I mean you puke it up. Yeah.
I don't drink milk. I don't drink liquor. I just like beer. Bud Light, no. I feel like the IPAs, I don't like hardly any of them.
Well, some of them, that's what I'm saying. Some of them was good down at Patty and Pines.
Yeah. I mean, I might have to go try, but I'm more like a lager. You know what I mean? I want something kind of dark. Yingling.
Yingling's good.
I like
I had that
Corona.
when I first arrived here, Yingling. That's what I went to. That was my go-to for about a year or two.
Yeah, Heineken's really good too. I like Heineken. It's just expensive.
Heineken's good. I usually do Yingling as like a winter beer, like all winter. I'm like a daily. I'll drink like 5-6 beers. Yingling's good for the winter for some reason. I just cold, trying to pack on some carbs.
Is this where I should also plug the DORA zone in Portsmouth? You guys familiar with
Never
DORA?
heard of that.
So this was during the COVID lockdowns. I learned about it was legal if you established it as a city to have a space where people could walk around with an open container. And so like some of the things is you had to have a designated cup and you had to go to a specific vendor to do it. And actually Jeremy Burnside really helped establish it because at first the language meant I think we were too small of a city, but they changed that. And so now you can, there's a section of our downtown where you can walk around from noon to 10 p.m. If you have the cup, you can walk around with your beer.
See, I like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like freedom.
Yeah, so there you go. Well, there's that, but also, you know, like restaurants where people weren't hanging out, they were losing business during COVID. So I was like, all right, let's allow us to still support restaurants and bars, and allow people to go out and still be safe, whatever. And so it was a good fix, and it worked so well that we expanded it last year.
I live by Sonora, and I remember they were allowed to like serve alcohol during COVID, like through the drive-through, like you could leave with it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Toro Loco does. You can order margaritas from Toro Loco. Which
I think that's all. It might have just been margaritas that they were doing that with it.
They're now in the new DORA zone. Toro Loco is part of it. So
Yeah.
You can kind of walk up Chillicothe, then turn, go to Toro Loco, come back.
Oh, you can just walk around there and drink?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
From noon to 10. And so, so it's not,
Noon to 10 at night?
Noon to 10 at night, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
I probably just snitched on Sonora because they're probably not in that zone.
You said they was.
You said Toro was in the zone.
Toro is, yeah. It's just
Sonora's?
in the downtown.
Sorry, Sonora.
Yeah. So it's like we have, I don't know the number of acres, but it has to be all adjacent and whatever. You can't have like one zone here, one zone there. It all has to be part of the same zone. And but we've had no issues at all from it. Knock on wood.
Well, that's right by the courthouse. You'd think that would be. Are you allowed drinking out front of the courthouse?
Yes.
We're in the
drinking alcohol
courthouse.
out front of the courthouse? Mm-hmm. And walk in, I can walk.
So just again, from noon to 10, and it's got to be in a cup from like, some of the vendors are like Patties and Pints, Port City. Actually, I think Oscar's, the hotel, is in it. Brew Pub, Toro Loco. So if you go and you say, could I have a DORA cup to go from noon to 10? And we expanded it. At first it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We expanded it 7 days a week. Because again, we haven't had any issues. It's like more of like like if you were going and someone wanted to go antique shopping, someone,
Yeah.
there's another thing. You'll see some stickers that say DORA welcome here. So an antique store can say like, okay, we're not serving alcohol, but you could bring it in your DORA cup. So if you don't really want to go antique shopping and someone does, you can have a beer while they're doing it, and it makes it a little bit more tolerable.
Yeah, see, that's
I like
cool,
that. Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about that.
And is that DORA like DORA?
DORA, designated outdoor refreshment area.
Oh, okay. I like it.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So we're gonna get our own beer, I think, down here
Yeah.
at the brew pub.
We wanna
should-
expand our, because what we're doing is, like I said, we don't even have like a set thing that we're doing. You know what I mean? Like we do podcasts, we do interviews, we do skit videos, we do just like a bunch of different things. Like we do like painful stuff, like eating the world's hottest stuff. I think we're gonna get monetized for this video too, because like I don't think we've said one cuss word. I like that. So we get paid off YouTube as well, which obviously we don't make a lot of money because we're not that big yet. But we don't get paid off most of our videos because we always cuss, and we ain't said one cuss word yet because, like I said, we're being professional for this one.
Yes, we
Wow,
are.
so if you cuss, you can't get paid from YouTube?
You can, but
Depends.
the way we cuss, you know what I mean, like you can't like drop the F words, not like FUCK, like FAG. You can't say stuff like that. And whenever you're talking amongst your friends, sometimes it slips out. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're sitting in there and then just like something comes out, then all of a sudden YouTube don't want to pay us, and
Yeah, it's a
a
whole
big
thing.
bunch of wild stuff. But yeah, so like the only thing we usually ever get paid off of is our eating videos. But I think this one will be a good one because, yeah, like I said, I'm in professional mode right now. I feel like I'm not gonna say no cuss words. I don't think I've said any at all, have I?
I don't think so, buddy.
Yeah, this is the
That's a record.
yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Portsmouth a little bit.
Yeah, what are your plans for Portsmouth? So another thing too. So do you believe in people like getting second chances? Do you believe in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of what's great about the addiction treatment model is like rather than like incarceration, it's rehabilitation.
Okay, so this is where I was going to get at with this. Which, don't get me wrong, I don't know how I feel about all that. I definitely, I don't know, like with all the rehabs coming in like residential neighborhoods and stuff. Me personally, I'm not a big fan. I've never done drugs before, and I don't want myself. I don't want to be around a bunch of people like that. So. Like my sister lived on Lincoln Street in a super nice house, and there was 4 rehab. They ended up putting 4 rehabs on her block. Like there was one on each sides of her house and stuff. So she ended up moving. But like stuff like that, could you just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But what I will say though, is what I was going to say, me personally, I don't want to be like, if they would start putting a bunch of rehabs on my road, I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to live here no more. But I think that, so the second chance thing, I feel like, okay, so like Kendall Heights, Wayne Hills. Okay, so whenever you live on these PMHA properties, as soon as you get a felony, you ain't allowed back in them or renting them apartments. And I feel like that's where a big problem comes from. I feel like the government should allow, if it's been so many years within the felony, that you should be able to rent a place like that. Because like say that he's a drug addict, blah, blah, all this, he got all this stuff going on, he catches felonies, but then he gets his life together. That shouldn't be able to affect him from getting an apartment up in Wayne Hills or whatever. Now, you know, I feel like it's just a lot of opportunities. I think something needs to change within those rule settings, because once again, I feel like that's just.
Well, it's stupid because, we're at the one hand saying that a person has paid their debt to society and then they leave, prison or whatever. And, now we're saying you can't live here, you can't vote, and we're now blocking them from getting back in and assimilating back into society. It's punishing people, often people without a lot of money, and it's a horrible system. And so, like, yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Is that something that you think that you can work towards and change eventually?
Can that be done at the local level?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I was trying to get at. Like, is that something that you could work towards and change for people, the local community?
Well, I guess that's run by things outside of our ordinances. I mean, we could certainly pass like a resolution saying maybe this should be revisited and changed. And we really don't have. I know when I was talking about decriminalizing marijuana back in 2020 or 2021. I put forward a thing to decriminalize marijuana, and there was an issue I remember where I was saying you should be able to have up to like 2.5 pounds, mainly because people that cook for medical
Edibles,
reasons
yeah.
they need a certain size. But anyway, that could have gotten a person in trouble at a PMHA property. It was my understanding, and so there was this kind of conflict in rules a little bit. As far as like reform, maybe to go back to an earlier point you made, we are currently enforcing a moratorium on addiction treatment facilities in Portsmouth. And what we've asked for is data from the state, like, okay, what's your strategy here? You know, where I only found out like 2 weeks ago from a report in the dispatch that there's like 39 certified facilities in the entire state. So what's the strategy? Should they be in certain parts of the state? Why are they located where they're located? Should certain places, we asked also, you should do a needs-based assessment. Do we have enough? Do we have too many? What's the story? And when we passed that legislation I was talking about last year, we asked all these state departments, we sent a copy to the governor. We asked them for those for answers to those questions. We didn't receive, not even a like, hey, thanks. You know, so it was like they're ignoring it completely. I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but I kind of want to finish that a little bit where like my understanding was, say, like 20 years ago, there was just no facilities and people were like dying under bridges, not being able to get in help. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the state decided like, all right, let's open up as much as possible and at least get people into something. But we've had that now for decades. And it's like, well, okay, how about this? How about have some standards that you have to enforce to ensure that these places are, you know, up to scratch? And it took all the way till last year for that to really move forward. So I do think that, like, to answer your question about addiction treatment facilities, I do like that about it. But I do think we should have an established policy of what's best practice. And I don't truly know what the state of Ohio is doing. I really don't know. We've asked. I don't know what. There's certain things they've said, like, okay, we're going to also get you to run facilities up to this type of certification. But there's a lot I just don't know, and we've asked, and we don't know. As far as, you know, civil rights is essentially what I think your question focuses in on. It's an attack on civil rights not to allow people to, you know, re-enter different things like housing, re-enter things like the political process. There's a variety of things that a felony conviction blocks you from, and it's terrible. I mean, I'd be of the view that you should be able to vote from prison. We are seeing, you know, more and more criticisms of it. And here's an interesting thing. There used to be a more from I think a right-wing point of view of like tough on crime. If you're running for a position, say that you're going to put people away for long periods of time. And what we're finding, at least in the state of Ohio, is that there's some that are saying this costs so much money that if you did something in Hackensack and we're going to put you away for 30 years, well, that costs money to have you away for 30 years. And so now there's this, they're revisiting from a financial point of view of whether or not we should do that. Now, I think that's a good thing. I think trying to establish better treatment of people that have served time and have paid their debt to society, we should be doing that as well.
I see it always seems like it takes looking at it from a financial side instead of a humanitarian side before things get done, which I can understand. America's a business. Every state, I think, is just a business. One of the points I wanted to ask you about, say like how he was talking about if you get a felony, Wayne Hill's PMHA property, I'm pretty sure there's like a rule in PMHA that you can't own a firearm and live on their property. But wouldn't like the Constitution trump their policy?
Yeah. Well, whenever I lived there, so if you go up to Wayne Hills, whenever I lived there, I had guns up there whenever I lived there. And was that her name, Tara? Tidra. And Tidra come in one day. She actually called the cops on me because I had a gun out, and she called the cops. Like it was like midday, and I had like the gun sitting beside me or something. So she called the cops and stuff. When the cops come, they didn't do nothing. They said there's actually no signs up in Wayne Hills that says you cannot have guns up there.
My point would be,
it's just like a thing they say, more or less. Like you can't have guns up here. That way people don't bring guns up there. But there's no signs that say
even if there was signs, it's still your right. That's what I'm asking. Like, wouldn't the Constitution trump stuff like that anyway?
Well, there's some legislation like for certain types of, in certain states, I think that'll have certain vetting procedures. Like if you have a violent felony, they might, or like a domestic violence thing. I think that's restricted some gun owners. I don't own guns myself.
Here, you don't have guns? Why?
No.
He's a Yankee.
I don't know. I don't. It's just, I never had a background in like being around them or whatever. It's not that.
Oh, you're from them states that don't allow you to have them though. You guys couldn't have paintball guns, BB guns, nothing though. Whenever I was there, they said like you can't have no type of guns. You can't even get Orby guns up there.
My sister lives in Buffalo, and Amazon would not deliver a Nerf gun to her house because she lives there. So we did
Nerf guns. There's people that own guns in my town. It's just we never did, and it wasn't like it wasn't. I just don't have any experience with it really. So I don't.
So you ain't never been to a shooting range or nothing?
I've never been to. Have I ever? Well, an unofficial one. When I was in Ireland, my uncle let me shoot his gun at this kind of abandoned car on his farm.
So how'd it feel though? It's exhilarating. It's fun. You just feel like
we actually got a video on YouTube that we do nothing but just blow stuff up shooting.
Right.
Yeah, we was blowing up tannerite, shooting all kinds of stuff. He actually got hit in the face with glass. Yeah, we don't stand too close. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so, man, I couldn't You're American. Mm-hmm. Why not own a gun? Just go buy one whenever you leave here. I'll go to Walmart with you. I'll throw half in on this shotgun for you.
I just never felt the need for one, and then like also I just like. I also think like the gun owners I know are quite knowledgeable of it. They know how it all works and how to do safety stuff, and like I don't, and I just never.
Well, you can go take a class on the west side for like what is it, like $45?
It wasn't expensive.
Yeah, I got. We both got our CC. I got my CCW after the stuff happened in Hackensack. I was like, I never want to get in trouble again. So I actually have 2 felonies on my record, and you want to know what my felony is?
Sure.
So it's one of them. So I had a 9mm, and the gun held 11 bullets inside the magazine. And one felony is a felony to possession of a loaded firearm without a permit in the state of New Jersey. That's one of the felony, crazy felony. And then the other one was large capacity of ammo. And it's just because it held 11 instead of 9.
Wow.
Yeah, so they hit me with a felony because it held 2 more bullets than what the other one was. And there's both felony twos. Yeah, they offered me, so a gun charge in New Jersey and New York is 5 years mandatory. And I took 2 gun charges because one of my friends had a gun, and I was all like, me being a good friend, he was already a felon at the time. I was like, I've never been in trouble. I can own guns. I was like, I'll go ahead and say his gun was mine. That way he don't get in trouble. And they offered me 5 years for mine and then 5 years for his. I said, oh my God. I said, Jesus, I didn't even know I was going to get in trouble.
Hey, buddy, you're going to have to own this one.
They ended up giving me probation and stuff. The judge up there was crazy mean at first, but then by the end of it, she was like, you Ohio boys are so sweet. Because I didn't know that you couldn't just like have guns.
It's America.
You know what I mean? And like, they say you can't pass, like you could pass through the state. This is what they said. You could pass through the state, but you can't make no stops. You can't stop. That's what they try to say. I didn't know if we make stops at like a gas station or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was crazy. And we was literally passing through the state. We got hit at one of the toll booths because the guy driving didn't hit the turn signal. And yet, it was crazy. God.
So how do you feel about guns? So
how do you feel about guns?
I've been shooting guns since before I could hold up a .22 rifle. My dad would bend down on one knee in front of me and rest the barrel on his shoulder so I could target practice since I was like a little guy. So I'm big gun supporter, Second Amendment supporter. How do you feel about stuff like that?
Well, I'm trying to think, did we vote on anything? I mean, we haven't voted on anything regarding guns. Oh, there was one thing. Someone wanted to hunt coyotes or something in town. We kind of thought maybe that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing we discussed with it. I guess it never really came up. I mean, like, again, it's just not part of my like cultural formation. I'm not,
But you support the Constitution and Second Amendment.
I mean,
okay.
You don't care that people, you ain't like a Hillary Clinton that don't want us to have guns?
No, I guess I'm not like Hillary Clinton for a lot of reasons, but yeah, that would be. No, I'm not trying.
I know she don't like guns, right?
Right. No,
I'm gonna say I don't vote or nothing, but I'm thinking about voting for you.
Yeah.
Just because you come on.
So you got an election coming up?
No, I have 2 more years.
Oh, okay. So you got 2.
And so this will probably be my final kind of go at it. It'll be all in. It'll be 8 years that I'll be on council.
You don't? Do you want to do it again? Do you want to become mayor again?
I mean, I enjoy being on council, but like I'm a big fan of like breaking routine and trying something completely different, like moving to Ohio 10 years ago. And you know, I've been here. I kind of when I started, so like to kind of back to 2017. You know, I think if you look at the root of the word representative, a political representative, what's meant to happen is we all get together and present ideas to one another, whether it's about guns or whether it's about whatever. And in those discussions, you select someone to represent those ideas at a legislative level. So it's the people are in control. They're the boss. One person says, okay, I'm willing to do this. And they go along and do that. And so that when a representative says they have an agenda, it's usually negative in politics when you hear about it. But you should have an agenda based on your conversations with your, you know, neighbors and friends and others. And so when I started, that was one of the things that I didn't like, some of the discussions about drugs where they're just like, well, just lock everyone up and all this other stuff. And I said, well, you have to be proactive. You've got to give people things to do. And that's where I started, like, you know, give kids a skate park to do something. And so like, that's where it starts. So then if you look at my door hanger from that first, I was like, we need a skate park, we need a dog park, we should do more grants and so forth. And so there's a few other things. I think there's like 5. And so we got the dog park, worked for that, worked on the skate park. I got grants for that. And that was it. You know, I did what I was going to say I was going to do. Now it's kind of like, this is house money, I guess I'm playing with in a certain sense. But I did say that we have to go on and do other things. And like certainly now, like from Edmund working on, you know, addiction treatment facilities, getting that done, that really was last year that was the main focus. And it took a lot of time. And so now I'm really more focused on things like housing, trying to get that improved.
I think that also, which I mean, I understand that. I think as a community, if we want people to keep living here and keep like wanting to actually be here, I think something needs to happen for the kids. Give the kids something.
That's what a lot of people say. A lot of people say it's not enough for the kids.
There's nothing here to do for kids. It's all we got now is rehabs. All we have around here is rehabs and
bars
and
churches.
Yeah. And literally, I feel like there has to be more stuff for the kids. Like Mount Park ain't there no more. I mean, there's nothing here for kids. And I have 2 daughters. I mean, I have a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old. So I would like to see some changes for kids, because like we used to have what was that place up here in New Boston? Used to have like the bowling in it, and then like
City Limits.
laser tag. City Limits got took out. Then they had the place up there in Berg. What was that called?
Adventure Kingdom.
All them nice big places for children around here.
The skate land.
Yeah, skate land. They have nothing around here for kids no more. I think it'd be cool to bring some stuff here for the children, because I think that's what's going to bring more people in, that family oriented people. Like, because right now, like I said, there's literally nothing for children to do here. So I mean, a lot of people they want to up and move that way. They can.
I'll push back a little bit on that, because I think we now have that. We have the Children's Learning Museum. We do have the skate park. Kids do like the dog park. There's an esports arena that it should be open by end of January.
I just saw that a couple of days ago.
The Vault on Chillicothe Street. So there's that, and actually Oddfellows just opened. They like do duck pin bowling. Now they do have alcohol there, but you don't have to. You know, it's a bar, but and restaurant, but you don't have to drink alcohol.
What is it called?
Oddfellows. And they have a retro arcade in the back.
I saw Edwin post that yesterday or something. Edwin shared something about it. I don't know what it is.
It's on 2nd Street. It's right by Happy Pot. Happy Pot's another thing to do.
Well, see, all that stuff downtown, I feel like none of that stuff down there is marketed well. So there's so much stuff down there. Whenever I drive past, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know we had this. Like, I didn't know about it. The skate ring that they got out during winter. I didn't know about that.
There's Winterfest for the month of they did that.
Like stuff like that. None of that stuff is marketed well. But a lot of that stuff down there goes out of business. It's only here for a couple months. It goes out of business.
All that stuff is owned by private citizens, right? It's not owned by the city. Am I correct?
The skate park is city property. The dog park is city property. But to your point, the Children's Learning Museum is, I guess it's a non-profit. I think the Happy Pot's a private business. The Duck Bin polling place, Oddfellows, is private. But like, there are things like that. There's sport and so forth. I thought, for me, one of the things I've really tried to push for is like the 20, 30-year-old market of like trying to retain Shawnee State students after they graduate, or people that have grown up here or that want to return here to make it fun for 20 and 30-year-olds. I've tried to like do things for them as well. Where I think that,
what do you got in mind for them?
I like to expand. So the last 2 summers, I've gone on the Ohio River Challenge. Have you ever heard of it? Mm-hmm. So we go from Portsmouth to Louisville on these big canoes, 12 people each. And so the first year was last year that I did it was I went from Portsmouth to Cincinnati in a canoe, 5 days. And this summer I went from Cincinnati to Louisville. I do think we're a river city and we don't really make use of the river. A lot of people are scared of it. And so I think doing things like canoeing and kayaking on the Ohio River and other spaces, we should be doing that. There's like, hiking in Shawnee State Forest. It's a great outdoor area. And those are things you can do that you don't have to spend money, at least, the hiking part of it.
Yeah.
So I do think, and part of it is I think, maybe you guys are a little desensitized to it because you're around it all your life. You kind of like take it for granted, but I think it's like the surrounding area. There's a lot of great things to do there. And so I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see like what else people would want here as far as like what little kids or would want to do, or like, parents with their kids, what they would want to do. I'm not sure.
I think a big part of it, well, I used to own a business. I still own a small vending machine business, but I had a business, and I found out that like getting grants as like a person, that's just like a human, is like almost impossible. Like it's got to be like schools, municipalities get grants. So a lot of these businesses I think are going to go out of business, but I think a big part of the reason is because I don't think there's enough well-paying jobs around here. Like I'm job hunting right now as a business owner, and I'm just not like, it's like, I don't want $13 an hour to go do it. Like you can't live off of that anyway. I mean, my fiance, luckily she's a advanced EMT and makes good money, but I think that, and I don't know how much you can do or anybody local can do, but I think that one of the biggest things that would probably help around here would be like a factory, like Amazon factory or something. I know that was like, wasn't that like argued about in the past, not too long ago? Like there was somebody, they were wanting to put like an Amazon warehouse here that would, offer, I forget how many jobs, and it was like stopped by someone.
Oh, I'm not sure if it was. I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe that was.
But I take your point that we want to make it so that this is a place where you can have some economic, not just security, but a little bit of economic prosperity as well. And there's a lot of small cities like Portsmouth that are facing similar struggles. And they call them they went away from, they're not calling them legacy cities in Ohio. But what I would say is, there's so for that, I think what the city government can do is provide enough quality of life things, to make it a good place to live, which would then attract, whether it's Amazon or someone else, that they know if they put something here that people would be happy working for them and living here, and so that's a challenge to do, certainly. And I think, but there is, if you look at the downtown of Portsmouth, the amount of money, we're talking millions and millions of dollars in the last 5 years have gone into it. And so there are these massive changes taking place. And we didn't get into the situation of, economic struggles overnight, and it's not going to be overnight that we get out of it. It's kind of and there's no perfect formula, I don't think, but for us, I think trying to, make it a better place to live, to attract a company to come here to set up shop is something we can do. And we could obviously incentivize it in different ways. I wanted what I was pushing for was a municipal advisor to help establish a TIF zone, establish an economic development zone. And I'll have to return to that. I'll try to do that again. It didn't make it through council, so.
Yeah, and I think that that's positive. I don't know everybody in Portsmouth. That's kind of the circle that we run in. I don't think anybody really knows what's going on down there. I think a lot of people don't have money to be I'm going to take my kid down here to do this because they don't even know what it's going to cost. And they're like, can I afford this?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. With the park, with Mountain Park, that was one of our main attractions around here. Everybody went to Mountain Park. And I thought they was tearing it down to rebuild it, and they just tore it down. I guess they're not rebuilding it.
No, they will. And the Hilltop Initiative, they've put a lot of work. One of the things they're doing is developing a park.
Are they rebuilding the park?
Mm-hmm. And it's
I thought they was just, that's what I was getting at.
Not exactly like that. There's a wooden frame. Is that that wooden? Yeah. So what they're doing is more of a, and I won't get the language right, but they'll have certain spaces that are sensory. It's for kids with autism will also be able to enjoy the park. And they're looking to invest quite a lot of money to kind of rejuvenate Mount Park. And it's actually a community group that's doing it. They're doing a great job. It just takes
Time.
they had to get it surveyed because of like the obviously the mounds, and then also they're raising money, but they're applying for grants. They're really making a go at it. So and I think they'll be successful. But it does take.
Well, yeah, I
the
hope
skate park took me 7 years.
Yeah.
So these things do take time.
I hope they do, because like I said, I thought they was just tearing it down, tearing it down, not doing nothing with it. I was like, that is crazy, dude.
Well, I hear a lot of people complain about that because they're like, oh, they got a space for people to walk at Mountain Park now. Like there's like a walk path or something, and people were complaining like this is stupid. But you're right, it does take time, it takes money, it takes effort from everyone.
Now, has it been updated? Like, have you guys let people know, like, hey, we do plan on putting something here?
Yeah, they have a Facebook page, and they also have been in touch with council and city government. And they've made presentations at city council meetings.
I didn't know nothing about that. I didn't know they planned on doing that. I remember when I first saw it, because I didn't even know it was getting tore down. I remember I drove by and it was just tore down, and then I don't remember. I ended up talking to somebody later on, and they was like, yeah, they just tore it down. They're not doing nothing with it. I was like, why would they do that? It was like, at the time, in my head, I'm thinking like, man, they're taking everything there is to do for kids around here, because there's really, the only nice park that we got around here now is what? The one down there at, no, well, that one's a nice one. Yeah, I forgot about that one. But the one down there at the river, because
Alexandria Point.
is that what it is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one, I would like, whenever I can take my kids out, we'll go get 2nd Street Dairy Bar, get down there, let them play. That's the one I liked. But yeah, I don't know. Me personally, I feel like with 2 daughters, me being a 27-year-old, I don't know. I don't think there's really much that would make me want to stay around here. I feel like it being for my kids, but not a lot of people's like me though. I always put my kids first. A lot of people, they don't think like that, but me personally, like something that would keep me around is if my kids are happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it seems like we have a problem with communicating different things, and so to play devil's advocate, do you think it's your fault that you don't know about?
Yes, and I will say this. I did just talk about this 2 episodes ago. Mm-hmm. The episode just dropped the other day. I am stuck in my own world. Mm-hmm. I live in my own world.
I mean, we can still do a better job, I'm sure, but I also wonder, how do we do it? How do we get people informed about like what are the options? People
that's not like me, that aren't into like the politics and then knowing what's going on, because I don't ever know what's going on around. I'm so just in tune with trying to better my own life that I don't worry about nothing else. So, but I'm always on the internet. I'm always on like Facebook, because like I said, with our podcast, and I got the game, and I run my Facebook page, all this different stuff. I'm always on all that. I don't know. I mean, you said you guys had a Facebook page, like the place for the Mountain Park and all that, but I never see that. I never saw no one share.
Well, I think it's more than just you too.
A lot of people around here. That's what I'm saying.
I talk to a lot of different people, and a lot of people have the same complaints that he's talking about. Even though he's just misinformed or doesn't look for it, I think a lot of people. I don't think everybody I talk to feels that way. Yeah. But I think it just kind of has to start with better jobs. I think that if you're wanting people to stick around here, like you just said, we're down. Less than or more than 20,000 people in population here. Mm-hmm. I think
there was 48. Now we're at 18.
We're at 18,300. I think it got up to about 43. But yeah, it's a big.
That's a drop.
Yeah, that's a drop. So, and I agree. So there's that, but like there's again, like for us, is trying to get like when we did the skate park, that was like 350,000, and we got. I don't know how much. Maybe at the very most, we put like 35,000 in as a city, somewhere around there. I mean, it wasn't. That was us going out. We got everything from a Tony Hawk grant to another grant, and then the 2 other grants. And I paid for the most of it, but I think we have to be quite tactful in how do we do that, because we have limited money as a government. We're still on fiscal watch. But still, that doesn't mean we just give up. But I do think, one of the things I've learned today so far is that, that people drink Jameson with milk. And also, though, I'm going to try that. Trying to, and part of it is trying to like break down those communication divides. I don't know how we can do it, but this is one of the ways to do it. I think is just talking with new people and so forth.
Yeah, because I feel like you coming on talking about the stuff we've talked about now, it's going to reach like a larger audience that like, because not everybody that we associate with and everybody that knows us, like a lot of people that do know us and stuff are the people that are in the recovery, like Blaine Parker. All of them, like they're all like working these rehabs and stuff. So I mean, and then they'll be able to hear what you're saying, and they'll be able to inform people. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, and the step to, you mean more
Information.
Yeah,
Information is everything.
getting on. But yeah,
So I got a weird question for you. I had a couple. I wrote down some questions. Do you think Epstein killed himself?
It does seem shady, but I don't know. I have questions about it. I don't know. I mean, he was a terrible human being, but I'd like to know more of what he had to say. So I don't know. I mean, what's the details of it? The camera wasn't working and people were asleep.
Right. It seems impossible that those guards they were there all the other time, just not then, and then the camera doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, it does look very suspicious. I mean, I'll grant you that, definitely, yeah.
I think Bill Clinton had him killed.
Bill Clinton did.
This is the conspiracy. What are you into? Like, are you into anything weird? Aliens, conspiracy theories? Like, what do you do with your time when you're not?
Conspiracy theories, well, I love sociology, so but like recently I've been, I've been very focused on getting certain stuff done with the city. And so I can see, like, I like to get back to writing and stuff. I don't know, like, what else do I do besides host bourbon clubs? I do go up to the Cincinnati area a bit. I have a hideout up there.
Yeah.
And so I do enjoy that. And so I've kind of slowed up being a Giants fan. I've kind of, I'll root for them, but it's more like Bengals and Browns. I'll watch the Browns tonight. And some Ohio State football. I've gone to a few of the games. I was able to go to the double overtime win in Columbus. That was a lot of fun against Michigan. And then I went to that victory against Alabama in the first playoff. That was really fun. So I still like watching certain sport. I just for the most part, I still like reading a lot. Like academic type stuff is what I do. Conspiracies, I'm not really for the alien thing that we were talking about earlier. I do want to see more transparency from the government. I do think we should have a closer look at certain budgets, and so you don't even have to believe in aliens, but you should believe in the transparency of how the government's spending our money. Mm-hmm. And
how much money was that the Pentagon lost? $350 some billion that I just don't know where it's at. But yeah. It was something. I don't know if that number's accurate, but something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. But I'd believe any number you tell me because I mean it's just there's no oversight, and so I did follow that. That was interesting. That one congressional hearing. So I've traveled a bit, and I don't know. That's what I've. Normally during the week, I'm meeting up with different friends in the downtown. So I like doing that, and that's mainly it.
I got a question for you. Hold on, I got a question for him. Do you believe the Earth is flat or round?
I believe it's round.
Do you? They was trying to talk me into thinking it was flat.
I can't get away from it.
And I will tell you why I believe it's not flat now. I truly believe it's not flat now. I'd never even think I thought it was flat in the first place. I think you guys just try to talk me into it.
I don't know if it is or not. I like to learn.
Cause you believe it is flat?
I don't, because I was watching something the other day about this guy talking. If it wasn't a ball shape, then how come? You mean like the moon and the sun have the round shapeness?
He has an answer for you. I've seen the videos that he's shared on this kind of stuff.
I'm just saying, me personally, I was watching, I think it was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they was talking about it, and I was like, man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I think.
One of the things last week when we had Uza and Pookie on, Pookie said, "Why would Earth be flat, but not everything else is round, like Mars is round?" Like, and that I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting idea."
That's what got me thinking about it. What do you think about Antarctica? Why can't we go there?
Oh, is there an underground compound of stuff? I've heard this conspiracy.
You ain't allowed there at all. Did you not know that?
I didn't know.
I didn't know that either. That's what I'm saying. You're not allowed there at all. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed going. Yeah, every country. Yeah, we all agreed on. Yeah, we all agreed on that no one's allowed in Antarctica. Like you can go so far into it, but you can't go past where they're at. And there's guards from the U.S., guards from Russia, guards from everywhere that are there that stop you from going in.
What are people thinking is there?
Aliens.
Aliens?
Well, they found a
No.
huge hole that it goes down and it's like green. I mean, it's in the middle of this big iceberg, and they're like, "What's down there? We want to know." Do you? So do you believe? You don't believe that like we're alone, do you?
Oh, I think there's
They just
definitely
come out
other
and say-
biological life.
Has
They
to
just
be.
come out and said
Yeah,
aliens
some
was
sort.
real.
Well, they said UFOs are real.
They said aliens was real too.
They haven't really.
They were saying those they found the phrase they used biologics,
Right.
and
Non-human biologics,
Yeah.
which could be a dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it seemed like they're saying it. But for me, I just think we're seeing more and more. I think of that there is, and I don't know what level of intelligence, or whatever, but I do think there's other types of life. I mean, I don't think that's that far fetched. It seems almost harder to believe that there'd be nothing else. But I don't know. I really don't. I followed some of the discussions about like arguments about where the evidence is or all this other stuff in the summer when they were having those hearings. I guess for me, my main thing was like, okay, let's use this to kind of open up the discussion more. Let's have more transparency.
Yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson said that the universe is so vast that I know, you have lived on so many different Earths that you have done exactly everything that you've done in your actual life here millions of times in other places. That's how vast the universe is, and the probability that you have every time you've paused or sneezed or something, you've done it in another life somewhere, well, on another planet.
That's heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of how big it is.
He also famously said sociology is very complex. He had a compliment about sociology that it's very tricky to figure out. He's right. But yeah, that I think at the bare minimum, a lot of these discussions over the summer is getting people interested in, life outside this planet or events outside this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about John F. Kennedy or John? Well, I was going to ask you about the assassination, but you don't care. How do you feel about Robert Kennedy Jr.? Do you follow him at all?
Yeah. I don't really know what he's. I don't know what he's aiming for. I did see a house in Portsmouth that had a flag, but they took it down, I think.
I'll go put it back up for him.
So Kennedy. Part of his platform was that it seems like he's going to be critical of the intelligence community, and obviously with his family background, there's reasons for that. But also, not only that, I think that he's critical, and I think in many ways, Trump's candidacy is going to do that as well. I don't know. He's moved around a bit. He seems. My understanding, he was critical of the engagement between Russia and China. Sorry, Russia and Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
He seems quite critical of those that are criticizing Israel's actions towards Gaza. He has asked questions about vaccinations and stuff. I think that's where maybe he first started. He was an environmental lawyer, and I think he's very much critical of big pharma.
Very much. Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know more about him than I do.
I love this guy. Yeah. I think he's the only guy that could be a president that could bring us together.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Like, I feel like, Biden, like nobody wants Biden again. Not a lot of people really even want Trump again. Like, even the Trump supporters are like, we kind of did this already. And then he lost a lot of his people with COVID lockdowns because, everybody was like, he started out like, oh, this is not real. It's a hoax, all that. And then it was real. And then it's like, oh, yeah, take this vaccine. And then his supporters are like, boo, you know what I mean? So he kind of lost his people there. And then with all this stuff going on with his legal issues.
He gained me as soon as he started giving out them stimulus. They got me out of Wayne Hills.
Yeah, but
my side story, by the way, about Robert Kennedy. There was someone I knew in Ireland who older. I'm not sure if he's still alive. He was older, before I left. I left, was that 2013? So he was in, I'd like to learn more about the story, but he was in California at the time. He's an Irish guy in California. Robert Kennedy's running for president. And there was a thing that was going to knock him off the ballot in California, apparently. This was the guy's story, and that he got him back on. And of course, Kennedy goes to California, and of course, Kennedy is shot and killed. And so it was one of those like what if moments, like what if they didn't get him back on the ballot? I don't know if that, same guy, it's an interesting story, signed the Doors to a 3-gig contract in California. And the Doors, signed it and so forth. And they did the first gig, and then Light My Fire became this national hit. And they're just like, yeah, we're not going to your small little venue anymore. And he actually tried to get someone to sue the Doors on his behalf because they failed, they breached the contract. But he also stated that they had asked him to be a manager just to basically look after Jim Morrison, that the Doors knew that, he has a problem and like someone needs to look after. And they thought he could do it. And it's really interesting. Very interesting character. You could see like photos of him with Robert Kennedy. It was one of his last public appearances right before he went to got assassinated in that hotel. But interesting character. He he seems to always argue. It cracked me up. He was he put a Kennedy sticker on his. He worked for the post office. He put it on the mail truck, which you're not allowed to do, so they fired him. He was in the Air Force for a bit, and he wrote to the senior administration complaining about the price of orange juice. It's like, we're in Florida. Why are we spending more? Why are we spending more in orange juice here than you'd pay in Manhattan? And they sent him in some like Arctic zone as their response to him. Like, you don't like it here, go this way. So he's really funny about it, but I haven't talked to him now in years. Again, I don't know if he's alive, but that was my one Robert Kennedy story. But I did see some of what Kennedy was saying that, I would like to see his voice be heard. I think we shut people out of the debate, not just Kennedy, but others. And it's terrible. I think with all the people in our country, having only 2 parties makes no sense.
Absolutely. Well, you heard what they're doing to Trump in Colorado. They took him off the ballot, and not a Trump supporter, but I think that's wrong. Yeah.
Michigan just rejected that. I believe Michigan. He's going to be on the ballot in Michigan.
Okay, because I heard there was like 6 other states that was trying to do the same thing. Get
more.
Was it more?
Yeah.
Trying to take Trump off.
I actually would say like have the confidence in your agenda to be popular with people.
Yeah.
Don't try to eliminate someone as an option. And so I'm not going to vote for Trump, but I do think he should be on the ballot.
Absolutely. It's democracy. Yeah. Well, I feel like Biden's going to lose. I don't know.
I would think, bro, I've never heard nothing good about him. All I see is bad stuff about him.
Everybody hates Biden. He's just too old. He's not with it. You know what I mean?
He's not even here, is he?
Bruh, he's not. Like, but so Robert Kennedy Jr. was running as a Democrat. You know what I mean? Lifelong Kennedy Democrat, which is the Democrats that I agree with, like pre last 3 to 5 years. You know what I mean? Before because I was a Democrat and I was like, we're getting a little too crazy here. You know what I mean? Like the far left is getting a little too far. So, and Kennedy seems like he's a moderate. Like Republicans support him, Democrats support him, and it's like the people far this way and the people far this way are like, nah. You know what I mean? And it's like, how far do we go before we're like, we're doing too much? You know what I mean? That's my political ideas, because this is what I do all day. Like, just I'm into politics really big.
So he did seem to pull from. I mean, it's interesting, like who criticizes him and who supports him. Like you've seen on both sides, But I would like him to stay in the discussion. I'm not saying I agree with everything or disagree with everything he says, but like we need more voices. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they try to call him an anti-vaxxer just because he's like, we need to study vaccines. It's like, we do. But, I think it's funny, like Democrats, if you're listening to this, pre-COVID, we were skeptical of big pharma and vaccines. And now because COVID happened, Democrats are like, well, no, let's just trust the government and trust big pharma. So, yeah, that's my message to Democrats. Remember who you were and vote for Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yeah, well, it's funny, the criticisms of science, you see across the spectrum in different ways. Like if you go to you can go even further back, but mid 20th century, a lot of academics were critical of science, mainly because they the creation of a nuclear arsenal, the risk to our survival on the planet, and so forth. Then there was the debates of like cloning, and like people had even like and stem cells had certain types of religious objections to it. And so then obviously with COVID, then there's other people have criticized it from different angles. And I actually think it's good to have a kind of not just a fully accepting belief in all things. That like science should not be the only voice on things. I do think we want to make our best decisions on the evidence available and so forth, but we should be humble enough to understand that science has been wrong in the past, and we should you shouldn't vilify someone for being skeptical. Like if someone asks questions, we shouldn't throw them off a mountain or something like this. So.
Are you religious?
I was raised Catholic, but I'm not Catholic anymore. So, no.
So what are your plans? Before we wrap this up, I want to know, what are your plans? Do you plan on, after you're not married no more, after you're done doing whatever you're doing, do you plan on residing here for the rest of your life? Or you going to move back to Ireland? Going to go to your little hideout in Cincinnati? What are you doing?
That's a great question. That's the one I don't have an answer for. I try not to plan out too far in advance. I like it here. I have a great setup. I love the spot I live in, Portsmouth.
You live up in Indian Hills or something?
I'm on Front Street, actually. It's where Robert Dafford lived when he painted the murals. He lived in this spot. And so we've become friends, and it's great. Well, hopefully you guys will come to the Bourbon Club, and you can see for yourself. I hosted in my house. You might have to pay double. You said you drank a lot. Is that it? Yeah.
I mean, I won't come down to your house and drink a lot. Yeah. I mean, I'm not,
You might bring 60 bucks.
We're with you. I got to be professional at all times. You know what I mean?
I'm actually trying to make to your religion question. I'm trying to organize a couple of representatives from different religions to come to the Bourbon Club in January. They're welcome to drink, but they don't have to. But it's kind of just to kind of bring different groups together. To your point, though, for the foreseeable future, I'll be in Portsmouth. I do like it here, and I like the region here. I would like to go back to Ireland maybe a little bit more frequently, but I'm kind of aware of the fact that there's also other parts of the world to see, and so I'm kind of interested in doing that. But
where's somewhere you want to travel?
Where is somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
I do want to go to Africa. I'd like to. I haven't been to I'd like to go to Australia. I'd like to go to parts of Asia, like a lot of places.
Japan. I heard Japan was super nice.
I would do that. I did when I was in Ireland for that semester. I kind of backpacked around Europe for 6 weeks, and I enjoyed that way of traveling. I just kind of got on. That was before budget airlines, so you get like this. It was called a Eurail pass, and you could kind of travel for 10 days, and that was an awesome time. That was. Yeah. I flew. I visited family in London, flew to Amsterdam, and then did like a clockwise circle around. And it was just, I met some people I knew, but it was great. And that's a great way to travel. I think I'd like to, do more of that. There's more of the U.S. side. Like living in Ireland, I'd go to like places in Europe. So there's, I'd like to do some road trips in the U.S. I'd like to do
somewhere here in the U.S. that you ain't been that you want to
go? I guess I did go to New Orleans for that one trip. I'd like to go back there, but you're saying where I haven't gone.
What trip did you go to New Orleans for? Mardi Gras?
It was New Year's Eve.
You're a partier.
It was New Year's Eve. It was, actually, I was in Vegas for the 1999 New Year's Eve.
You know what? I support him. He's a partier and he's Irish. That's my type of guy.
We were there for the Alabama-Ohio State game. Remember when, I'm
not big into
Cardell
sports.
Jones, he won that game for him as the quarterback. Well, they all won. Ezekiel Elliott. But that was a fun trip. Other parts I'd like to go to. I'd like to west. I guess I've seen most of the East Coast areas, so I would like to go west.
You been to Vegas?
I've been to Vegas, and I go to Burning Man. Do you know Burning Man?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know?
That was that thing that was in the news recently. Whatever happened.
So what it is outside of Reno, there's a desert, and they create a temporary city for 10 days of 70,000 people. And we're there for, a while. Well, when we were there this year, it rained in the desert, which causes just chaos. And a lot of people thought, including myself, we were going to be stuck there. and thankfully we got out. But it's you should look it up. It's a really cool experience. I've been there. This summer was my 4th time, but I'll probably take a break now from it. I'm gonna try different things.
And you go there and stay for 10 days straight?
In the desert, sleeping in a tent.
Oh yeah, that's wild. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
He wouldn't do no.
Like,
he don't do no
tent
tent stuff.
That's like a hippie thing.
it's there are hippies there, but it's a lot of like the California types. But
They're
it's
real
mixture.
hippies out there.
Yeah. But it's international. I mean, it's like it's. I mean, a lot of people just say it's a bunch of people going wild in the desert on all types of stuff, but it's, it's actually a great experiment in city planning and other things, and I love it for that reason. So I've been there to Nevada a few times, in Reno. Vegas, I was just there for the New Year's thing, 99, for the Millennium New Year's. That was fun. But yeah, I'd like to still go out different parts of the West. I was in Portland. I kind of like that. I'd like to go more of Oregon, but yeah. So I'd like to see more of the U.S. just out west.
Are you married? You have kids or anything?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No.
It's just a single guy out here living.
Oh,
it
you
up.
be living.
Yeah.
Take me to Ireland with you. Yeah, I'll find us some girls. Yeah, yeah, dude. You're the mayor, bro, and you're just single, living it up, going to hippie fest,
Drinking all the time. So can you drink beer at your bourbon tasting?
Well, people come and that don't drink. They'll drink water.
He said it's more for interaction.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
So some people do. They'll drink. They'll come with like something other than bourbon, and they're welcome to do that. And they don't pay. Obviously, they just hang out. And it's more. They're there for the same reason the bourbon drinkers are there, or just about the same, just to kind of hang out and meet other people they normally don't hang out with. It's really a cool idea.
I can't drink liquor. I just don't understand why anybody drinks it.
Mm-hmm.
I just like
you feel good.
I just like beer. Mm-hmm. Beer tastes good and it
I
makes
know
you
he
feel
can
good.
drink too. All Irish people can drink.
Well, would you do like cocktails or something like that?
No, he don't do nothing.
I just like beer.
Okay.
He don't even go out to the bar. I actually got him to go out to the bar with me not too long ago, and someone was giving us Jello shots. I don't even remember who it was. We were so tore down.
I was drunk. So
Someone
I was
gave
bad
us-
off that night.
Yeah, someone gave us Jello shots, and he actually took them. And I was like, oh my god.
You knew I was drunk if I was,
Yeah,
if I was
I was like,
and just taking
the
shots.
worst part about it is he let me spit the Jello shot in his mouth.
He always says something.
So did you like the Jello shot?
He loved it.
I think so, but I don't really remember a whole lot that was going on. I don't really go out. Like I just sit at my house, drink, hang out with my family.
So do you watch TV or anything?
I do have a Netflix thing, and so I recently was told to watch this Can't Leave Behind, something you can't leave behind. You can't leave it behind or something. It was about. It was like the number one thing. I thought it sucked. It was terrible.
I don't know. I didn't watch Netflix really. I've been on YouTube watching like just documentaries. I like documentaries. That's where I learn all my stuff from is documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm a movie. Like I like movies. I don't like series because I feel like I'm too busy to keep up with stuff.
well, I do like certain type of series. But what I was gonna ask him, like, do you watch like comedy stuff? Like, you know who Theo Von is?
Who?
Theo Von.
No.
You don't know who Theo Von is? Oh, he's like the biggest comedian out right now. He's hilarious.
Stand-up comedian or like?
Yeah, he's a stand-up comedian. Plus, he has his own podcast and stuff. Since you're the mayor, you should reach out to him and get him to let us come on a show or him come on our show.
Where is he located?
Just in Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then because we need to do something big for Portsmouth, and I feel like if we blow up, we could do something big.
We need to buy the Columbia. You know Lee Scott, right? I think everybody, all the government.
Why would we buy the Columbia?
We buy the Columbia and we put on shows there, right?
All concepts.
Comedy shows, magic shows, all this stuff.
Not magic.
Yeah, magic shows are awesome. I'd love to go. I went to one magic show and it was cool.
But really, though, I really do feel like the Columbia does need to be bought and opened up in something, because that's a really nice spot. That could be something really that
It is nice.
that brings more. Because we brought in that rapper Montana 300. You probably don't know who he is. Well, he's a big industry rapper. We brought him down here because we got an interview with him. And where's we at?
Toledo,
Ohio. He told us to come up there. We went up there, did an interview with him. While we was there, I talked to him. I was like, hey, how can we get you to come back to Portsmouth to do a show? That was a way we kind of brought like everybody in Port, and it was a really good time too. There was no fights that night. Everybody got along, and it was just a really good night.
Cool.
That I eventually, if something ever happens, I want to be able to do something for Portsmouth. But I mean, people just got to get behind us, like, because like we have shirts and stuff like to the UK all this different stuff. So we got a lot of support. But it's just like with Portsmouth, I feel like just like a lot of people, with you being, you're not from here, so you really don't know. Like we know like a lot of the people here. I know almost everybody here. Just knowing people from here, people don't want to see like other people succeed. They want to like, if it ain't them, they don't want to get behind you and support you. And that's the problem with our town. So I feel like that's one of the only reasons why we're not big. Because if you watch like our stuff, we do a lot of funny stuff. We say a lot of wild stuff.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is we need a grant.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll buy Columbia from Lee. And
I don't
then,
think that's what we was. I don't think that's what we did.
I guess on a smaller scale, going like, when I was talking about like what can be done to kind of in many ways like nurture development of different things, including like having it a fun place to live, where like a company would like to come here and then say like, okay, this is a great place to live, and we'll have our jobs here. Something like the Columbia and these big acts and so forth. I think we can work on trying to have more social events, even in someone's home. It doesn't have to involve alcohol, but like a Bourbon Club where it's at someone's home and it's affordable. $20 for a night out is an affordable night.
Yeah.
you got a nice house?
It's all right. It's a duplex. So we just hang out in my my apartment's 800 square feet. We have a back patio, and got some cool street art from Robbie Williams. He of the Street Art Project. He put some stuff up there, and there's a mural that's getting done now on the back of my house, which is pretty cool looking. But anyway, it's 800 square feet. It's not big. It's really the space that people hang out within inside is smaller than what you have here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, where do you live? Do you live down there on 2nd Street?
It's the corner of Front and Madison. It's right. You know where the baseball player dugout is? There's like I'm right by the brew pub, but on Front Street.
I don't even think I know where the brew pub is.
Yeah, it's down there. I know where you live.
If you were, I live by the footer stand. Actually, you
Yeah,
can see
that's
my
2nd
house
Street,
from
right?
the footer stand. That's 2nd Street, but you look at the back of my house.
Like you live over there by like where PMC is, the motorcycle club.
Oh, so that would be further down the road for me. But if you don't go, it's before you go through the flood. You know how you have to go through the flood wall to get to there?
Yeah.
Well, right there is where my house is.
Yeah,
where
but
it opens up.
you live down that way though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you live over kind of like by where the old jail was.
Yeah, so now you're getting even closer. So now keep coming that direction towards the university. From my front door to that old jail, it's like a 3-minute walk.
It's talking about where the Dairy Cream is, like the footer
The
place.
dairy bar, yeah, that's right across. So if you're standing out front of the dairy bar looking at the flood wall, you live like this way, right? Like right directly across.
I'm
the
not,
street.
I open up my door and I look at the flood wall mural.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if I'm, yeah, so you live right there in that vicinity. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. So you live like over there by like where they sell like the dog food and stuff.
Yeah, the feed store.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right by me. They're doing this. I'll show you.
I bet that's a real nice, peaceful place to live.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I guarantee it.
And I'll show you what I'm putting on the back of my house. It's now it's not finalized. This is what it looks like currently. So if you're at the footer stand, that's the back of my house.
Is that a painting on your house?
Yeah, so he's working on it now, and this is what it will look like.
You had that painting put on?
Yeah, we transferred over from where it was going to be at another place. They just kind of that's what it's going to look like. Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's the final design.
Hey, what is that? Is that like some devil worshiping stuff?
No.
Witchcraft?
This was part of what do you call it? It was It was part of a notebook illustration I think someone did in recovery, and then they created it into like a mural design.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was going to go somewhere else. Something happened, and so they need a new place. I was like, well, you can put it at my house if you want. For me, it's a criticism of science. I have said this, that it reminds me of, there's differences between, say, objective reason and instrumental reason. Sometimes science is just like, can we do this? Like, can we create a missile that will destroy the entire planet? There's another aspect of it is like, should we do this? And we should have more of those discussions of, should this happen? It's not, can we do it?
Yeah.
Should we do it? So it reminds me of that.
Well, for sure, we'll have to I'll come over and drink with the mayor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll come over and drink some beer.
Yeah. So the next one will be January. I got to get the date right, and then when I do, I'll reach out to you guys. Even if you don't want bourbon, just hang out.
Yeah, we'll come down. Yeah.
You smoke weed?
I guess it'll be legal. So yeah.
You smoke weed.
He answered well enough.
What is Bill Clinton's answer?
Oh, okay. So,
No, but I do believe in you should. It's legal now, but I would say that obviously you can't drive with it. The city of Columbus made some announcements, which I was asking us to make, and you can't smoke in public. What's the other one? And you can't. You can give it to somebody else, but you can't sell it to somebody else. So people should still remember there's still laws. I was learning a little bit more about it. Do you know where Ohio is considered the third biggest state for marijuana consumption?
So we need to be letting people make money off this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So the House bill that's out there now, currently the language is calling for an additional 50 dispensaries, which I don't think. I mean, the estimates of the market here is like between 4 and 5 billion. I mean, it's enormous, and so like there should be a lot more dispensaries, I think.
yeah.
But you're talking about Ohio, right? Because in Portsmouth, I was looking it up, and it was like you had to have so much money liquid, and you had just to apply for a potential license was $50,000, and if you didn't get selected, you just didn't get your $50,000 back. You got to have $500,000 for this, $1 million every 6 months or every year and a half, something like that. It seems like it'd be really hard to do that in this little bit
dispensary
here.
For a dispensary, I was just having some talks about that. For a dispensary, you should be expected to have $2 million to get it going. A lot of us don't have $2 million. The application itself is like $5,000, but then people hire consultants, which can be anywhere between 25 to 100,000. Your vault system would have to be, for what you're asked to do, it's 75 to 100,000. Your security system, 100,000. You have to have a variety of different things for this building, including there's stricter rules on delivering cannabis to cannabis dispensaries than there is delivering very powerful painkillers to pharmacies. They have stricter rules for cannabis. It makes no sense. And so it is. I mean, what's tricky, then you have some dispensaries that make $10 million a year. So like, it's one of those things of like, people already with money are going to be able to make a lot of money, you know? So I would like to see, I think we have 3,000 liquor licenses in the state. I thought someone told me, but I don't know. So some have been advocating for we should have as many dispensaries as liquor licenses.
Yeah.
So,
I think they need to put in some smoke shops too.
I just wanted to open up a food truck and sell food that was enhanced with cannabis.
Oh yeah.
That's little, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to spend
what type, like baked goods and stuff?
Yeah.
everything.
Edibles?
Everything that you can make with butter, anything you can put butter on, it's gonna get you a little buzzed. But I can't do that legally.
Why not?
You can't, because I'd have to. Can I?
Well, so basically, they return in January to start talking again about January 1st. There's a person, and I'm forgetting his name. He's going to be appointed as the head of the Cannabis Commission, and then they're going to supply him with a board, committee members, and they then will decide on, like right now, my understanding is we have we're using only 1/4 of our capacity for cultivation. Now they're calling for in the legislation 40 more cultivation licenses. Likely that won't happen because right now we're only using 1/4 of the space that's already allowed. But what they could do is rather than 50 new dispensaries, they add 100 instead of 50. That's very possible. But I think the numbers from that first round for medical licenses, it was like I want to say there was like approximately 1,200 applications, and you're looking at 5G each. With then on top,
I thought it was 50.
Well, when you put in a consultancy, it could be more than that.
Okay.
Some places put in. There was one place that put in 5 applications, but they got 3, which is incredible. But anyway, so out of 1,278 got them. It is a lotto system, so you're looking at far less than 1 in 10, and so. I don't know what they'll do with the next round, but I was researching it because I was interested in like, well, how are they going to, you can get a map of where different things are. And like, I don't know, again, what their strategy is, how they're going to rank different applications. I think Columbus already has 14 dispensaries. Do they need any more? And then if not, then where else are we going to put them? And there's certain counties that have none.
Right.
They have smaller population, but they should have one. So you know.
I think I know this doesn't really. I mean, I just think it's crazy that we allowed the government to tell us that we couldn't useless plant. Like that just still blows my mind. I just think we should
The
reject.
government tells us everything we can and can't do.
I think we should reject if we should just reject the idea that you can get in trouble for it. Just like no, this is not doing it. But we just won't.
Some have argued, I do think there's rules that would be necessary that say, like, once you start saying that possession of anything can be criminalized and you can be incarcerated for, it opens up all types of issues. And so some have argued that no possession of anything should get you in trouble. Now that's a fringe argument, whatever, but you can kind of see kind of what you were speaking about.
Yeah, I don't think that people that use should get in trouble. Like, I think, say you're like a crackhead, right? If you're a crackhead and you get caught with crack, I don't think you should have to go spend 10 years in prison because you're a crackhead. You know, I mean, if you're selling crack, that's one thing. But if you're just a crackhead,
I think all drugs should be legal.
yeah, that's. I mean, I do too, to a certain extent.
It's your I mean,
It's your choice
I'm
if you do
libertarian.
them or not.
Like my foundation is libertarian.
I
so
think it's your choice. You do
I
them or
just-
not. Because, like I said, I mean, I don't see how it's fair. I mean, if I like say I had like a coke problem, and I was just like always doing coke, and then I got caught with a little bit of coke on me, and then next thing you know, I'm in prison for it.
And we don't do drugs. Never
Yeah,
done
I've never
drugs.
did a drug in my life. If I get a headache, I don't even take ibuprofen. Now I am a drinker. I do drink a lot, and I ain't drinking 2 weeks right now. I don't know if you guys want to clap for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really ain't drinking 2 weeks, and I'm proud of myself.
Good job, buddy.
My weekends have sucked.
So what do you guys do then besides? So you kind of hang out with family, have a few beers.
Yeah, I have a small vending machine business. I had a store in New Boston. It failed epically. But yeah, just family and taking care of the house and vending machines. Always looking for, like, entrepreneur. Like, I'm just always looking for what's next. Like, what other stream of income can I come up with?
Yeah, I'm banking on this.
What are your favorite spaces in the city? So I was asking this of I was trying to map that out. I think that would be really cool. What do locals find as the most enjoyable spaces? Like you might say, like
Dirty Butts,
the footer stands, or like the Alexandria Point Park place. Like, I'd be very interested in what people highlight as what's their favorite places and why. You know, what is the
Well, see, I think a lot of people are going to say the bars. And then the only really good bar we got around here, the only bar that I see lasting around here are the main bars. Is Dirty's. What's that other one?
Frankenstein's been there for a while.
Yeah, those are like the main bars that bring in, because that's where everybody goes. Everybody goes down there. It's fun. Dirty Butts is my favorite. It's my family kind of runs it. So Dirty Butts is my favorite. I go down there. Ain't gotta take no money. They just, you know what I mean? I eventually got to pay them back, but they let me.
I don't.
I go down there and get my drinks on front, and I can go down there and have a good time. I ain't got to worry about nothing. But that's my hangout spot. But like I said, I've been trying to not go out and stuff. I've been in the gym, got out of the gym. I'm starting back in the gym next week. So really, that's all I do. All I do is hang out. I do this. I game, and take care of my kids, and then yeah.
questions we would have sometimes in the Bourbon Club a question, since we're all coming from different backgrounds. We would try to get questions that would start funny conversations or whatever. But one that I really enjoyed was, what are people's guilty pleasures for the songs they like? Like, what's a song that, like, I first started defining a guilty pleasure as if you were driving and it was on the radio, you would turn it up, but then also turn up the windows. Yeah. But part of it is, that's funny about the guilt is, like, some people would feel guilt that they really love Taylor Swift, others wouldn't. And it starts showing how we're kind of relational to one another and how we define the self. But, like, we made a list for a Bourbon Club of everyone's guilty pleasures, and it was a fun, because a song would come on and be like, all right, who chose Backstreet Boys? This is ridiculous. But, so what's a guilty pleasure that you'd want no one to know that you actually truly love?
Music wise, or just
music wise?
Well, I listen to boy bands. I know that I got like this real thuggish look to me, but I'm really a teddy bear. No, I like boy bands. One Direction, the Janoskians, which Dirty Pig sponsored. Go grab you up some clothing. They're actually my favorite band. I've had their tattoo since I was 15, 16. And then we actually got videos with them now.
Right.
Shout out Bo Brooks. They're from Australia. They were super, super, super popular back in the day. And then he actually come on our podcast, talked about the downfall of what happened. He was in a relationship, boom, boom. But I'm into that type of music. So I don't have a guilty pleasure. Like I love Taylor Swift. I love One Direction, the Janoskians, 5 Seconds of Summer, Green Day, all kinds of different music. AC/DC, obviously got it tattooed on me, one of my favorite bands too. So I don't listen to music. I know a lot of people probably would listen to my music or see me listen to music and be all like, why is he listening to that? But I would, One Direction, don't you? Do you? Okay, so I got a Harley. I'll ride my Harley and I'll have One Direction blaring out my speakers.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm not one of those people that get embarrassed of listening to music because I listen to music that makes me feel good.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't have to ride around listening to gangster rap or whatever to feel tough. Dude, I'll pull up and put these on somebody, some Tay-Tay. You hear me?
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love Tay-Tay.
I actually don't listen to music anymore, really. Just when I'm driving, and I'll just turn on. I got the Tidal app, just because I support Jay-Z.
What's yours?
But I grew up on just basic hip hop, and then like the terrible hip hop happened for that period. I think
It's still happening.
I think we're getting out. I think we're gonna grow out of it, but
right now, you think it's terrible?
Oh, yeah,
it's been.
terrible
I
for
haven't
the past
enjoyed.
10 years.
That's why I don't listen to. I just don't enjoy it anymore.
No. Rap's been bad for the past 10 years.
I like some
I
R&B.
quit listening to rap.
Yeah.
I like old school R&B. I quit listening to rap. Rap has been bad. There's nothing good about rap. I actually just started listening to country music because rap's so bad. And I didn't know country music was even good. Now Morgan Wallen, I listen to him. Oh my, he has me drinking so much. I deserve a drink. I listen to that every night.
Probably the hip hop that I've seen most. Tribe Called Quest. I saw them about 3 times in New York. Now that's going back a while. And that was probably one of my. I liked when I was going Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. I listened to the Beastie Boys. I guess the live music I've seen more recently would be Godspeed You Black Emperor. Seen them probably like 7 times. That's not hip hop. But yeah, I guess I don't know as much about newer
School rap yet.
Yeah. Jay-Z has good taste in pizza. I'd say that. He used to eat at this place, Lucali's, in Brooklyn. It's really good. If you're ever in New York City for really good pizza, Lucali's.
I'll try to remember
I was
that.
there with Beyonce when I was there, and I learned that was like their spot that they were going to. This is before they had kids, so I guess they could.
I will tell you this. So you're originally from New York.
Well, I was born there, but
you grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Where do you think has the better pizza, New York or New Jersey? Because everybody says New York style pizza, New York style pizza, and I'll tell you the place in a second. They'll blow your mind. I wanted to see which one you think's better.
It's New York.
You think so?
Yeah, but that being said, New Jersey it's extremely good pizza. It really is. I mean,
In Hackensack, New Jersey, behind the courthouse, there's this little pizza place. It's like a little hole in the wall, little pizza place. And I promise you, I've ate pizza from New York, from Cali, Vegas. I've ate pizza all over. Pizza's one of my favorite foods. In Hackensack, New Jersey, I met this Mexican on Call of Duty. His name was Steve. I met him up there. He's from Long Island. He met us. He met me and my friend Nick in Queens, in Brooklyn, and we all hung out, went on like ferry rides and all this. And like I said, I was already going back and forth to New York a lot, so I was finding all these nice places to eat at. But no matter where I went and ate, never felt no better pizza. So I took them up there, and Steve, he's like my age and has been there his whole life. I took him to that little pizza spot in Hackensack. He even said, he was like, "This is the best pizza I ever had." And he said, "I'm from here."
Wow. Lucali's might be up there for me. They do great calzones too. Joe's Pizza in Manhattan's really good.
But I got to find out the name of them because I want to go there I want to go back to Hackensack just to eat that pizza place, because I swear on everything I love, I've had pizza from all over the place. Now, New York pizza is good, but that spot in New Jersey, in Hackensack, New Jersey, I promise you, it was just...
Yeah, I'd like to know where this place is.
It was phenomenal. Yeah. It blew my mind. Still, every time I go to New York, we go to Hackensack and get that pizza every single time. I know exactly how to get to it from the courthouse. But we're not gonna hold you up no longer. What time is it? Oh yeah, we knocked out 2 hours.
Okay.
So thank you for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been great talking.
Yeah, I had a really good talk with you. As soon as you're ready for us to come over and have a drink with you,
Hopefully
we'll come
January.
over. We'll come over and have a drink.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I won't drink the way I drink. I'll come over and just, we'll take a couple shots. I'll bring some Jameson over. Jameson milk.
Yeah.
Well, you red or blue cap?
Red or blue cap of what?
Milk.
Oh, I'm soy milk.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like milk from soybeans.
Oh, you don't drink regular milk?
Well, I'll have cheese and stuff, but I switched off like dairy milk, but I'm more on soy milk. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, red or blue cap, I get you now, right?
Yeah.
Rollers.
I don't drink. Dude, I'll tell you, I don't even know the difference out of red and blue. I can't taste the difference. Is it? I can't taste it, bro. I
haven't drank milk in 10 years.
love milk, dude. I'll sit in there in my house, bro, and like I'll pee on my game, and I got shakers, some dirties, and I'll fill them up with milk, and dude just sit there, just drink milk while I'm playing the video game.
I got a documentary you need to watch about milk, and you won't drink it anymore.
But yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, I had a good old talk. And you know what? I'm gonna vote for you, even though I don't vote. Am I allowed voting?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Do you live in Portsmouth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What ward are you in?
What?
Ward. So there's 6 wards. I'm in the first ward.
What's that mean?
It's just areas.
So I'm like downtown all the way up to like, well, it's kind of, it's like, it goes to the west side of the city. It goes up a bit.
I'm on 5th Street, on Short 5th. Down like towards...
You know where the pork rind
Bridgeport.
factory is?
I wonder if you're 4th ward.
I don't know. But if I'm allowed voting for you, I'll vote for you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'm going out into the sunset in 2 years.
You're done you're done in 2 years?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Oh, you don't want to be reelected?
Well, no, I think 8 years is enough. I like it, you know.
Oh, you've already done 8 years.
This will be the end of my 6th. 2 more.
Oh, okay. Earlier I thought you said okay. Yeah, it's 2017, 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right, well then, yeah, I ain't got to vote for you, but shoot, after that, I'll go to Ireland with you.
There you go.
But yeah, so yeah, thank you for coming on. The episode will be dropping soon. Cool. Is there anything you want to say to anybody before we go?
No, just Happy New Year, and hopefully see you guys in January.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Guys, we'll catch you on the next one.
Like, share, subscribe.